Now Yo, what's up, Crossroads students? Listen, we are back with another message during this time. And today, man, listen, I have a special guest. I've been knowing this guy since last summer, starting your second year of college. And this is my boy, Michael, man. Michael is a college student, sophomore year, plays baseball, knock it out the park, and he goes to military school. Sir, yes, sir. But Michael is not that older than you guys. Like, he has experience the middle school phase as well as the high school phase, and he has walked through some of the same things that you guys have walked through. And today, Michael has the opportunity to share.
So with me sharing today, I kind of wanted to kick things off. I know you guys have had that TikTok challenge recently. A little bit of dancing. I know my man Corbin over here likes to dance a little bit. You know, a little bit of cha-cha slide, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And so what I wanted to jump into is that we can dance along to the cha-cha slide. Left foot, left stomp, right foot, left stomp will go along left and right. So we're hearing and doing what the song is saying. And a lot of times it's the same thing with our relationship with God. That we can be told to go left, and either we don't take the step or we do just because other people are.
Wow.
That are we hearing and doing what is being said, or are we just listening and it's going in one ear and out the other? So with that being said, I wanted to talk about where the cha-cha slide, a little bit of dancing here and there can relate to the word. And that's in Luke 6, verse 46 through 49. Let me go ahead and read it. It's titled, "The Wise and Foolish Builders." "Why do you call me Lord, Lord, and do not do what I say? As for everyone who comes to me and hears my words and puts them into practice, I will show you what they are like. They are like a man building a house who dug down deep and laid the foundation on rock. When a flood came, the torrent struck that house." Take that, tuck it in your back pocket. We're going to use that later. "The torrent struck that house, but it could not shake it because it was well built. But the one who hears my words and does not put them into practice is like a man who built a house on the ground without a foundation. The moment the torrent struck that house, it collapsed and its destruction was complete." So just as we said, with dancing and having fun, line dancing, cha-cha slide, whatever it may be, we can hear them. We're not just listening because we're making the steps left and right. But are we hearing God? Are we hearing and doing what is being said, or are we listening and not putting it into practice? And that's the big subject of what I want to talk about today. So we can be going to service, we can be going to church, we can hear something just through a Wednesday night here with Corbin. Or we can hear something on Instagram. We can see something what we're watching. We got all this time at home. We can just listen to it and not let it affect our lives. Not let it change us. And that can be for someone in church or someone not. Someone who knows God, someone who doesn't. You can listen all day. That's just letting somebody talk. You going to let God talk, or are you going to hear what he's trying to say to you?
Wow.
And that's huge. So that's what Jesus is saying right here. Are you just going to listen and not practice what I'm saying? Or are you going to hear it and are you going to put it into practice? And that is what the first house is. That's what the description is, building on rock, that they're withstanding the storm. Because like I said, tucking that back pocket, that the storm's coming. It's funny how in both houses, in the situations, both of them get hit by a flood. Both of them get hit by a storm. It is inevitable that the storm is coming in our life. So with that being said, let's think about something in the Gospel of John, chapter 16, verse 33. "For I have told you all this so that you may have peace in me. Here on earth you will have many trial and sorrow, but take heart, for I have overcome the world." Take heart is a big thing personally for me in my life. It's something I've used as a motto for a long time now. And a lot close to me know that. And the reason why is because to take heart in something means to depend on something. Take heart. He's overcome the world. Take heart. He's already got you through that. Take heart. He can beat that addiction. Take heart. He can beat where you're leading to, that relationship that's toxic, whatever it may be. Take heart. We can depend on Jesus for it. We can depend on God. But just before that phrase, take heart, it says there will be many trial and sorrow. It's coming. It's going to be there. We're told that it's going to happen. And the crazy thing is, are we going to depend on the person that created the trial and sorrow in the first place? Are we going to depend on someone who doesn't know as much, something that can't do it? What are we putting our dependence on?
Wow.
And that's a huge thing that I think that Jesus is trying to speak through this parable right here, is dependence. And it's crazy. You think about dependence, taking heart. Isn't that what salvation is?
Wow.
That you're depending on Jesus to pay a debt that you owe.
Wow.
We owe it. We owe it. The wages of sin are death. But Jesus got up on that cross and he died. He screamed to tell us that it is finished. He was buried, and 3 days later, he was raised from the dead. And the blood that he washed on that cross cleans what we got. It cleans the sin that's basking all of us constantly. And it's just crazy to think that we take heart when we're setting a foundation. Well, we take heart when we have salvation. Does that not mean that putting our trust in Jesus for salvation is the same thing putting our trust in Jesus to build a house, the foundation? It's the same thing. It all revolves around trust and dependence. And think about David and Goliath. Think about through Samuel, that story. David had to trust. He had to trust that all that period of waiting, he was told he was going to be king. He was anointed. And years on years on years, God told him, no, go back. You're going to go back to the fields. You're going to tend the sheep. You're going to take all that time. You're going to wait. And I'm going to mold you. I'm going to mold you. Oof. And that's being dependent on God. Not only his timing, but his preparation. You may think that you're ready, but God knows that you're not. And that's huge. And that was the only reason that David was able to sling the slingshot to slay Goliath. Because he was fending his flock of sheep through the times when the lions came and the bears came. He was able to conquer those hills and valleys before he got to the biggest hill or valley that he had ever conquered before, that he'd ever seen before, because he had already gotten through the trials and sorrows from before.
Wow.
Something that I've heard Corbin say kind of recently is that new levels, new devils. It's not always going to be the same trial and sorrow. It may be the same delivery method. Because the enemy may do it the same way. If it's going to get you when you're 17, it's going to get you when you're 35.
This boy is preaching.
So what I'm saying is, it may come the same way, but it may be something different. Trials and sorrows are coming. So here's the big point. I don't want y'all to miss this. Do not miss this. So when we're building a house, we know that it says, when it says the torrent strikes, it's talking about the flood, right? It's talking about the flood. It's talking about the storms of life. So it says when the torrent strikes in both. But in the first one, the one that's built on rock, it says when the flood came, the torrent struck that house, but it could not shake it. The house wasn't shaken, but it was still struck. So when you think of it that way, first off, let's pose the question, what are we building our house with? Because if we're told that the house is going to be weathered, if we got the foundation set on rock, we're building on God. We think we're living with God. That's what we're building on. What are we building the house with on top? Friends, families, relationships, jobs, addictions, desires, parties, status, followers. What are we building our house with? And think about it this way. That relationship, that's the shingles. That friend, that's the window. That family, those are the shutters. That addiction, those are the walls. What are you building? Because we're told the storms and the floods are coming. The trial and sorrow is ahead. But what are we told to do? Take heart.
Take heart.
To depend. So if we're depending on God, what happens if the wind rips away the shingles in the shutters? The house may still be standing because it wasn't shaken. But if the torrent strikes it, what happens if it takes a few shingles away? What happens if your door gets ripped off? What happens if the walls cave in? What happens if the debris cracks the windows? Well, shingles are replaceable. Windows can be rebuilt. Walls can be fortified again.
Mm.
So a sturdy foundation is what really allows us to remain standing when the storm comes.
Mm.
You're going to lose relationships.
Mm.
You're not going to keep that job.
Mm.
Addictions may come and go. Desires may change. But the one thing that stays constant is the foundation. And are we going to put that foundation in someone who has crafted the storms from dust, knows what they are, ins and out? He created what you're in right now.
Mm.
Or are we going to put our faith in something else? Are we going to build on something else? And that's ultimately what Jesus is saying here. We may lose some friends and family relationships. We may lose some shutters, windows, and doors in the storm.
Mm.
We can always replace those. But you don't get the chance to replace it if the torrent struck the house and washed it away.
Mm.
And it's the biggest thing, is that we have this thing called grace from God. And it's the fact that just as God allows us to build a house when we hear and don't practice, or when we hear and do practice and it gets washed away, He allows us to rebuild it. We're given the opportunity to choose our foundation again. If the house is washed away, we always get the chance to rebuild. We get the chance to choose God again. And once you make that choice, all it's about, the things that you're building with. And here's something crazy. If God created the storms and He could be letting us go through them, maybe it's because we won't remove something from our life that He's been telling us to let go of. Maybe that toxic relationship that you keep getting a gut check, a nudge about, is something that you're supposed to let go of. But we don't know that because not only have we built with the wrong things, we've built on the wrong things.
Oh my God, I'm about to kick you, boy.
Please don't. So what I'm saying is the grace of God is incredible because when we mess up, we get the chance to do it all over again.
My God.
So God loves us by giving us the choice to do it. But He gives us grace by allowing us to choose Him over and over again, even when we fail to. So grace isn't what we deserve, but He gives it anyway. So in knowing that, just take from everything that I've said right now, just to see and know not only that God loves you, that He has His grace upon you, but choosing Him and setting a foundation is based upon hearing rather than listening and putting into practice what is being said.
Wow. So check this out, guys. Dude, what in the world? Did you just hear this? This is somebody who has literally said, listen, I'm not perfect, but I'm going to fully step into this relationship with God.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it everything that I got.
Yeah.
And so as he was talking, this house 1, house 2, many of you have to figure out where do you find yourself. Are you just hearing, not listening? Are you house number 2, like you really go hold it and you're going to actually put it into practice. You're not perfect. But you're going to try with everything in you to honor what He has said. So now you have a chance to get ready to talk about this in small groups. Like now, before you go to small groups, I have 2 questions that I'm going to ask Michael. And then after that, you'll go to Zoom and you'll go get in your group. So Michael, as you were talking about house 1, house 2, you begin to ask the question, what is your foundation built off of?
Yeah.
You begin to allude to that, like, first part of your life, it wasn't built off the right foundation. And then now that you have come and that grace you was talking about, you have accepted the grace that God has given you. Now your foundation is placed on God.
Definitely.
What would you say to the person that was like Michael before the grace?
What I would say to that person is that whatever pleasure you think that you're getting out of where you are, it's not filling. It's like being hungry and eating a bag of potato chips versus eating a steak. What's going to fill you?
Wow.
And ultimately what I thought I was getting out of the lifestyle that I led never filled me from all the cravings that I had because it was a God-sized craving that had to be filled. And when I had someone close to me share that and open that door and introduce me to that, I found it for myself. He didn't walk me through it. They can't hold your hand and do it for you. But it took someone stepping out in faith that was close, saying, hey, I think I got something that can quench your thirst. And ultimately, that's what changed.
Wow. So to get you from house 1 to house 2, is you being open and honest with yourself about where you stand.
Right. What's your foundation?
It's all about that. It's you exposing yourself, being honest with yourself, man. And then having conversations with people that can take you to the water. It's not going to make you drink it, but they're going to expose you to the living water.
Right.
And that's what you get ready to do in small groups. You get ready to go talk about this house 1, house 2, whether you find yourself. But I have to end with this. Dude, where you buy your shoes from? Like, if you haven't noticed, Michael be dripping. Like, listen, like this dude is like the fashion king, dude. No. King? You the man, dude. Right? You the man. But listen, I love you guys. We'll be back here next week. Same time, same place. Now get the small ones. Sure.